Imagine being sentenced to death and later discovering that the evidence against you was wrong. Since 1973, over 190 people on death row in the US were exonerated. That means nearly 200 people were almost executed for crimes they didn't commit. So in this video, I'm gonna try to explore the decline of the death penalty in the United States. A policy once seen as essential for justice, it's now practiced less and less frequently. I will present this issue neutrally considering all sides, including victims' family, defendants, prosecutors, lawmakers, and of course, the public. As someone examining the criminal justice policy, my goal is to understand how this applies to our system and how this applies into a constitution with in a moral way. So, in terms of stakeholders, there are several stakeholders in the debate over the decline of the death penalty. One of them, it could be the victim's family. Some feel that the death penalty brings closure by imposing the harsher punishment. Others feel that the lengthy may prolong trauma and prefer life without parole. So that's dependent on the family and the potential of the crime, I guess. Defendants and their families often express concern about racial disparities, wrongful convictions, which is like a big issue in the death penalty, and unequal access to quality defense lawyers, which not everyone can afford the same lawyer. In terms of the prosecutors and the lawmakers, some believe punishment is necessary because it's for the worst of the worst. However, others argue that it's too expensive, too slow, and it doesn't actually deter crime. And of course, the political opinion is shifting as Americans more question whether the death penalty is fair, cost-effective, or even morally defensible. Now, in terms of a critical analysis, when analyzing the death penalty and its decline, three major issues stand out. As I said before, the wrongful convictions, which is like the irreversible nature of execution, clashes with the reality that the mistakes can happen. The evidence, faulty forensic science, and false confessions have all led to wrongful death sentences and therefore creating, for example, the Innocence Project. Second example could be the cost and resources burden. The studies have shown that death penalty cases cost significantly more than life without parole sentences because of longer trials, because of the lawyers, extended appeals, and sometimes even getting the injection right to put a criminal to sleep can be costly. And third of all is the change in social attitudes and practical barriers. Society is rethinking what justice means. States struggle to obtain the lethal injection. Jurors are less likely to choose the penalty, and of course, several governors in multiple states have issued moratoriums. The system is shrinking not because of one decision, but because of accumulating doubts in terms of moral, financial, and practical. Now, I wanna focus on the tension and what does it mean for us, and I wanna talk about a key question: should justice prioritize the highest punishment available, or the protection of human rights and the possible of error? In other words, should we focus, like I said, on the worst of the worst, so either way it doesn't matter what was the crime or who did it, they deserve to die, or should we protect at least some kind of their humanity to let them live according to the sentence? This raises a deeper question. So whose voice should guide criminal justice policy? Those responsible for maintaining a public safety, or those who experience the system consequence firsthand? So, in my conclusion, the debate over the death penalty continues because the stakes are so high. Finality versus fatality, closure versus cause, and the justice versus the risk of justice. This conflict remains unsolved with valid concerns on both sides. I'm trying to be objective and neutral with this. So we must ask ourselves, what should punishment achieve? And what does justice truly require? Before I end this video, I wanna recommend you guys, either you, Professor Dawkins, or the people who watch this video. There's a movie by Kevin Spacey that's called The Life of David Gale, which talks about the death punishment and its errors within the system. It's a really good movie that can make you think twice about whether you go to that side or whether you go to this side. So, for me, I invite you not to reflect on which side is right, but what values you believe should guide the most powerful penalty that the state can impose.